When we talk about rape, we talk about rape being about power. And when we talk about sex in the right setting, we're talking about sex being an expression of love. We draw the line once it ceases to be about an expression of love to be an exertion of power. Hi, so my name is Libby Ndambo. I am a musician from Nairobi, Kenya, right here from, I don't know. In Nairobi, Kenya, yes. I am a singer-songwriter. I love talking about life and love and pain and healing. And I call them the chambers of my heart. The four parts of which all my songs revolve around. My love for God, because I'm a Christian, I'm born again. My love for my country, because I just love my peoples. My love for people, which is love songs, heartbreak. And then my love for what I do. It's the struggle of being a musician in Kenya. Rise Again song is an anti-rape campaign song. It's based on real life stories of men and women who have gone through rape. And it's basically, I call it an open letter from a rape victim, survivor, to her perpetrator, but to society at large. So how I wrote it is just the way we can be seated and having a conversation. So a rape victim is talking to her perpetrator and saying, this is what I was doing, and then this is what you did, and this is the consequence of what you did. But regardless, I will rise again in spite of the pain. So it's just them waging war against all the things they have been auctioned to by the rapist. I have lived in a society where something has to happen to you directly for you to act on it. So you find someone saying, until your sister is raped, you won't feel it, like imagine your mom being raped, imagine yourself being raped, what would you. And I was tired of that narrative, because why should we wait until something happens to us directly for us to be passionate about? I'm not a rape survivor. I have experienced instances where there's been, people crossing the line, sexual boundaries, sexual assault. Because you're a Nairobi girl, you have to go through these things, because that's the kind of society we have created. But I wanted to speak out for the many women and men that I felt I didn't know how to help. And so last year, I got so angry with so many cases and how the society was crucifying the victim and misplacing the blame. They forget empowers the rapist. So instead of focusing on, you rapist did something wrong, we are like, oh, sponsor manenos, oh, she was a slay queen, oh, she was this. Then we redirect focus from rapist to these other things, forgetting that in the process, Kenyans forget easily. We forget about the act, and the rapist goes scot-free. And so I met up with my bestie, and we talked, and we were like, we have to do something. And so we made a vow, good friends. We made a vow and said that we are going to do something. And then I wrote Rise Again as me speaking for rape survivors, and speaking for myself, and speaking for my children, and speaking for every man and woman who will go through this process, or who this song might help prevent the act, just to speak out about it. Sexual offenses don't begin with the act of penetration. It's a whole thought process. It's a mind process. Someone thinks about something, then decides, then acts. And so rape culture for me has been worse, because the people who need to be speaking out against this don't. And so what it does, it allows these thoughts to brew in these men's minds. What our society does, we cocoon rapists. We create an environment where they are safe and they can thrive. And so it begins with the talking. When a man catcalls and you reject the approach, and then now they begin to be either verbally violent or even physically violent, because you have rejected them, or it comes from in the home setting, where certain signals are there, that because most of the rape survivors know their perpetrators. So in the home setting, if say my uncle decides to rape me, there's someone who saw something and then cultivated and allowed it to continue, or even to cash money when it actually happens. So sexual assault is not the act just that. This whole culture is fertilized by so many aspects. How we teach our boys. When us girls are growing up, we are taught that you don't wear short dresses because you're attracting men. But we don't teach boys that if a woman says no, period. Can I say that churches are led by people who are not always on the right of things, because we are all humans, we make mistakes. So how they were brought up or what ideologies they have been taught is what they go by. So most of the pastors come from a very old school approach to sex and offenses, for that matter. And so instead of talking about it openly like we want to now, they find it easier to keep it quiet and talk behind closed doors. What they don't realize is doing that now harbs more rapists. In the song, I talk about one of the things that the victim is auctioned to. I say that you auction me to a system that hides behind religion, defending your name and honor, yet the holy book is centered on justice for the oppressed. You cannot take the Bible, one part, you have to take the whole of it. God was very, very deliberate when he sought justice for rape survivors. In the Bible, look at the Levite's concubine, look at Dinah, so many women who were raped. It actually precipitated war. My encouragement always to church people is, a human is a human. If they make an offense, we seek justice, love mercy, and walk with our God. We will have mercy on them and we will forgive them after justice have been served, because of the victim who has to live seeing this person. We need to stand in front of a mirror and really question, what are we doing as an individual? I'm not asking as a society or as police or as organizations or as whatever. I'm asking as Libby, as Velma, as every single person in Kenya, what is my contribution to rape culture? Because that was very important in the song, that the society has enabled perpetrators by misplacing the blame. So how are you doing that in your office? How are you doing that in church? How are you doing that on the streets? What talks are you having with the people around you? What are you saying that is enabling rapists? What are you saying that is encouraging more young boys and girls to grow up being entitled to sex as opposed to receiving sex as a gift? Who are we turning a blind eye to? That office guy who just touches specific parts, or that makanga who has too many complaints around women, or that lady who seems to be overly sexual around men and groping parts they shouldn't grope. What are you doing to enable them? And then question yourself, what can you do to change the narrative in your sphere of influence? I'm not asking you to change the world. I'm asking you to fit into the piece of the puzzle that you belong to and make it right.